Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. As you can see, my beard is still white. What does that mean? The Washington Redskins are still in the playoff hunt. A lot of you didn't think that was going to happen last week. We told you it would. We'll tell you in this next 30 minutes why we think it can continue. We'll be right back.
Once I started looking for car insurance, it was a no-brainer. I switched to Geico and saved hundreds. That's a win. But it's not the only reason I switched. The Geico app makes it easy to manage my policy. I can pay my bill, add a new driver, or even file a claim. Woo! Hey now, that's a win-win. Thank you.
Switch to Geico. It's a win-win.
You know, when you have a quarterback issue, so to speak, and just got here, you have to play great team football. You know, other than the two plays at the end half on special teams, our defense kept us in it and just did enough for us to stay close. And then Josh made enough plays, and people around him made enough plays to get the victory. So, total team effort, but hats off to the defense. They played hard today.
Every situation I've experienced, I've probably been in some somewhat similar situation before in my career or in my life. And I just try to draw back on those experiences. One thing I've always tried to do with myself is even when things may seem negative, I always try to pull positives from them and just pull a positive and store it somewhere. And I mean, it kind of came full circle a little bit this week. There was things I was able to go back to reflect on from when I was in Tampa. It's kind of how I started in Tampa. When I was in New York, when I was in Baltimore, the Jets, every situation has affected me in some type of way. And I just try to pull from that enough when I can, just understanding and identifying that, oh, this is like this time, and this is like that time. And one thing that I knew coming into this week, that I was different. I knew I was different than the guy I was in 2011. I wasn't nervous with talking to you guys, wasn't worried about everybody now texting me and everything. I knew that comes with the territory, so I was able to really just focus on what matters, and that's trying to get a win versus Jacksonville.
You know, first of all, you got to credit the defense for coming up with a huge interception. You know, Jacksonville was in a position to take the lead with the field goal or a touchdown, and we ended up getting a turnover. So, you know, credit to them. And then just being able to, you know, go down the field, that was huge. A lot of credit goes to the offensive line. And obviously, you know, AP was the one that, you know, pretty much carried us on his back, you know, with some tough runs, picked up, you know, a few first downs. And we was able to get it down the field goal range. And, you know, that's how you win the ball game. You know, like they say, you know, any win is a good win.
Welcome back to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. Now, we're very positive this week for the simple aspect the Washington Redskins won a game on the road that they needed to win. But guys, they said something on television Sunday that caught my attention. They said 7 times in a row, every time that Peterson runs 17 times or more, the Washington Redskins are undefeated. I feel like Sunday, that was an important aspect of the game. I know you feel like Josh Johnson was important, but I still look at Peterson as being the one.
Well, Donna was actually there. She watched every single play, and I don't know if you'll verify this, Donna, but I have to commend Jay Gruden for taking responsibility down there, getting into the red zone by running Peterson over and over, and he got 12 hard yards on 3 carries. I mean, you gotta give it to Gruden because we've always criticized him for not running, and he sure did that time.
Well, yeah, Tony, because the thing about it, like you said, that Josh Johnson did a lot of great things with his feet. I mean, it was amazing what he did to keep them in situations, but it was going to always come down to the running game. Like in past games, we said if you run the ball with the beat-up offensive line that they have, although they still need to stop making so many penalties on the offensive line, they're going to win games. And down the stretch, AP was the reason why they were able to make that last drive and end up in scoring position for Hopkins to make the winning field goal. So
Well, you
again,
know what? You're right, and I'm not going to say any names, but offensive linemen can't afford to get 3 or 4 penalties in a row and stop a drive. At the same time, I must digress and go back and say, had they run the ball like that in the beginning, could it have been a better finishing?
Well, you know, that was really interesting because Jay Gruden was asked about that. Apparently, AP kept giving Jay the dirty look on the sideline. He said this in his press conference earlier the other day, and he said that he kept looking at AP and saying, AP, dude, the holes aren't there. And so I thought that was rather interesting. That the guards just weren't creating any space.
Yeah, but it helped them a little bit when they did not have to pass block. They did more run blocking. So why not do that the whole game? Let's look at the Tennessee game right now. Washington needs to keep their offense off the field. They got a pretty good defense, but the defense is predicated on stopping the pass a lot. So why don't you go into that game figuring you run the ball at least 25 to 30 times?
Well, I think you do run the ball.
Well, I think you do whatever allows you to move the ball. If it's running, is moving the ball, run the ball. If passing is moving the ball, pass the ball. If the quarterback is scrambling, moving the ball, moving the chains, whatever's moving the chains is what you need to do, in my opinion. You know, don't get me wrong. If AP is moving the chains, keep feeding them. Feed them, feed them, feed them, feed them more. And if the quarterback uses legs to extend plays, I'm going to allow that to happen because it's just at this point you have no choice but to allow your quarterback to go for it. He has to go for it and cannot worry about getting injured.
This is almost like, really, it's almost like playing the Jags again because they're right around 6-7 ranked in defense. Skins are around 9. So it's like playing the Jaguars all over again, only this team has an offense.
yeah, but I think, Tony, I told Mike the other week that you can't worry about where these teams fall in the NFL, you know, whether they're 20th, 28th, or 30th, because it comes down to what Redskins team was going to show up against the Jaguars, the same thing against Tennessee. They knew that they had to win that game to have a chance to make the playoffs. But I'm with you, Tony. You have to keep the defense on the other side honest, and you have to be able to establish the run. Now, Josh Johnson made some great runs with his feet. I mean, he just took off, and I think that opened up the running game more so for AP. But the Redskins has a tendency to get away from the running game a little bit, and Jay Gruden had to come back to it. And I think that the receivers, what is 17 Floyd? You never heard his name. So it was some new receivers that made plays this past game against Jacksonville.
They're safe.
Well, I still look at Crowder came in and made a lot of big plays. And what we have to look at, we got to look a little bit forward. Yes, they got to keep that offense, speaking of Tennessee, off the field. How do they do that? That helps the defense. And so if they run the ball, run the clock, they got a much better chance. So you got a different team coming in here. You have a team in Jacksonville with not a great quarterback, a pretty good running game that wasn't working until the third or fourth quarter. And then you got a special team that had a big play on the Washington Redskins. Now, Tennessee comes in, they have all those facets and more, and they have a quarterback. So right now, when we get to talk about defense and how we can help them, they got to run the ball. Looking at the defense, guys, and we'll look at that in the next segment, I was very disappointed how they allowed them to run on them in the third and fourth quarters. When we come back, Donna, you can throw them under the bus. We'll be back in a second.
You look at us, and I just say it all the time. It's like the little engine that could, you know. struggling along, choo choo, just struggling along the whole time. And no matter what happens, we have to keep going that way. It's like boosting us off, guys on defense and special teams all playing a role in this victory today. And can't say enough about those guys. And AP as well, finishing, that thing on out to where we didn't have to get back on the field as a defense. Hop came up, kicked that three when that pressure was weighing down on our line to hold up because they do a great job of blocking kicks. And finally, getting that monkey up off your back.
Total team effort today. We obviously, had some good moments defensively. Our offense made plays when we needed to at the end, especially, Adrian getting those first downs at the end. We're able to, burn off the clock. And then Hop coming through with special teams. That was a total team effort in every sense of the word.
Well, for the last 3 weeks, you've heard Donna just roll all over the defense. Mike got with it. Gary, he's a good guy. He only talk about offense anyway. These guys are talking so bad about the defense, but on Sunday, this defense played pretty well. But I am a little bit disappointed how in the end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter, they were allowing this team, Jacksonville, without a quarterback to run on them.
Well, Tony, you know what? The reason why we spoke bad of the defense because they played bad over 5 weeks. This was
they were the only ones.
Well, we're on the defense right now, but for 5 weeks they were giving up over 400 and some yards. But the good thing against the Jaguar, they gave up like less than 200 and some yards on them total offense on them. But the thing about it is 6 sacks, more aggressive. Yeah. More pass rush, and then they forced 2 turnovers. That was the key. But I'm like you. They did get a little conservative and shaky in the third quarter because they were giving up big yardage in the running game, and that concerns me when they go into Tennessee because they've got a great running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
What are they
going to be dangerous?
What are they going to do when they see a Derrick Henry, who had 170 yards on the ground against the Giants? The Titans blanked the Giants, Tony. They have now beaten the Jets 26-22, beat the Jags 30-9, and beat the Giants 17-0. They have a 3-game winning streak, and the Redskins are heading into them.
Well, they have a very good defense, and they have a good quarterback that he's innovative, and he does a lot of good things. He's not the greatest thrower, but he will get you yards on the ground. They have a real good defense, and they have some good special team players. So what this Washington Redskins team need to do is go in, as we said in last segment, run the ball, make sure that your special teams don't make mistakes like they made on Sunday, and try to help this quarterback because it's great that he's running, but we don't want him to get hurt. So it all starts with the running game. But this defense, with Allen playing the way he's playing, I think they can stop him.
I wanted to ask Gary, Tony, if you don't mind. Crowder came into the league. He wasn't one of the most touted receivers, but he ended up being one of the leading receivers in his first year in the league. And now he's back, and it's interesting. Johnson's already found him. He was the leading receiver on Sunday. And you're going to have, Tony, you're going to have a Titans defense that has lost their defensive back, Ryan Logan, and Kenny Vaccaro, their starting safety, is going to be out. I would think that Crowder would have a really good game against them.
Yeah, I think.
Well, when Crowder came out, they had a lot of receivers in front of him, and they were saying Sunday that he has the 3rd most catches of any receivers that came out in his group. So we know that he has the talent, but he needs to stay on the field. As far as Tennessee, yes, they got 3 games in a row, but they've won 8-9 games already this year. They are a legitimate team. This is what the Washington Redskins need. Play a legitimate team and get the job done. So, guys, you tell me, we got a couple of minutes, how can this defense help?
Well, Tony, the good thing about it is you look at the defensive line, and all the guys are back healthy. Ioannidis was out for a couple of weeks, and now he's back. And if you looked at him against the Jaguars, that defensive front, this is the first time that they really was getting the pressure. So I think on defense, they need to blitz more, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And then the lane they still need to work on the edges. But I think it starts there on the front of the defense, which that game against Jacksonville need to do the same thing against Tennessee and a little better.
But, I picked the form of what you said, pressure on the quarterback. If they can do that, they can make this quarterback make mistakes. They got to stop the running game as well because Henry is running really well now, and they got a good offensive line. But their offensive line is a little bit in transition, so this is where the Washington Redskins need to take advantage of that.
I agree. I think you have to create havoc, Tony. Create havoc is going to be a thing, and with velocity. Play the game with velocity. Play the game with speed and power, and wreak havoc. Wreak havoc on offense, wreak havoc on defense. You have to surprise this team so they don't see the Washington Redskins that you saw for the last 5 weeks. You see the Washington Redskins that you saw at the beginning of the year. That's what has to happen.
Can I ask you guys, I don't know how much time we have left. Apparently the defense, Donna and Gary, they had a team meeting this week. What goes on in those team meetings?
DJ Swearinger did, called it.
What goes on in those team meetings, Tony and Gary? When players get together, there's an issue. Now all of a sudden the defense played much better Sunday. What are you guys saying in there?
There's a lot of
Let
things that
me
you
tell
can't
you about
repeat.
that.
But his
But you
meeting
played
was
better.
yeah.
Huh?
But his meeting was for the whole defense to watch film together to point out certain things within the defense. So that's what that meeting was for.
Good for you.
And that was
You
for
always have the entire team.
togetherness. And they'll need that togetherness because one facet that you left out, G, is the special teams are going to have to step it up.
Yes.
They can't keep giving up plays and not making plays. And when we come back, we're going to hit that right in the mouth because it's something that needs to be said in the minute.
In the mouth.
You okay there, Kurt?
We're about to move.
Karate helps relieve some of the house buying stress.
At least you don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Call Geico.
Geico helps with homeowners insurance?
Been doing it for years.
I'm calling Geico right now.
Good idea.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Beware what you ask for. We asked for the special teams to give us big plays, but not for the opponent. And that's what they did. Come on, y'all. What's up with these special teams?
Okay.
If they're not going to give us plays, they can at least give us help.
Come on. Hopkins had 10 points. He had 10 of the 16 points.
Well, and he was one of the ones that missed it, and they got the touchdown too. So I don't care who.
It's not his job to tackle the people.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Why not? He's getting paid.
He tried, but all the other people up front missed
I
it.
can't believe. Hey, G, can you believe that they try to give them a pass?
That's
And-
like
and
the
everybody
Hopkins
on
part.
the
I
special
see like the loyalty from the Hopkins part, you know. But Mike, I don't really understand.
I know. Well, you know, I stick
At the
up
end
for
of the
the.
day, if you put on shoulder pads, you're supposed to tackle somebody if the need ever
Thank you.
arises.
Well,
Thank you.
can I ask you guys one thing? When was the last time you guys played on Super Bowl teams that all of a sudden you get a phone call and you have to get a guy in there to snap for you, long snap for you. You get the uniform flown into Jacksonville. The kid has never played in an NFL game before. He goes out early, snaps the ball, seeing if he can do it, and that is what you're depending on for a game. That has to be history in the making.
Also, that's the reason they got the touchdown, Mike. Is that the real reason they got? Hey, Mike, you really grasping for straws.
He really is,
Anyway,
Tony.
Andrew is married at least to a gold medalist. Come on, Tone.
There you go. And that's why they had him on television. But I tell you what, he did a great job. But our special teams, we can't afford against Tennessee for them to give up plays and not make plays. We got 1 minute and a half. Somebody tell me what we need to do.
Gary can solve that.
Well, you know what? I can't solve it. So I'm gonna let Mike solve it.
Oh my gosh! All I know is that they talked about the velocity of the snaps and the long snap. I'd never heard of such a thing, but apparently Sundberg is one of the fastest in the NFL in getting the ball back. So I have no idea, Tony. I don't know what's going on.
No, Mike, I think you got it a little bit wrong. I think that they were talking about our guy is a little slow.
Yes, Tony.
Yeah.
Why he hasn't been? That's why he hasn't been on teams, as you said, during the season.
Oh,
But
really?
See, there you go, Mike. You're Mr. Special Teams picker, and you got to get that information on that.
Well,
Tony, you are right.
Well,
He's slow. The new guy is slow.
Well,
and Sundberg is fast, but the other guy is slow. But the thing about it is, like you said, I think how you resolve this is they cannot, like you said, afford to make mistakes. Just before the half, they let them score that touchdown, which that could have been disastrous for the Redskins. But like you said, they've got to get one return. The Redskins, they haven't had one of those yet for a touchdown.
Exactly, and it doesn't have to be a touchdown. They need some big returns so they can flip the field, and that's what's so important. When we talk about the next segment, and we only have a few minutes, we have to say, what do they need to do to win? And it's just not special teams. We'll be back in a second.
And now New Faces with Adam Batachi.
Welcome to New Faces. In this week's segment, we talk about Redskins long snapper Andrew East. Originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, East is a graduate of Vanderbilt University. He'll need to improve his distance and his snaps and get the ball there quicker, or they'll be finding a new long snapper sooner rather than later. Hopefully that'll improve this week against the Tennessee Titans.
Hey, sports fans, two-time Super Bowl champion Gary Clark and Pacific Dental Services have joined up to bring Redskin fans a chance to win free NFL Legend experiences. Go to www.garyclarkinc.com/fans to register for a chance to win. Good luck.
I'm at this wing joint telling people that Geico's been offering savings for over 75 years. That's longer than the Buffalo Wing's been around.
Dozen wings.
And did you know that Geico offers motorcycle insurance? Oh, my lips are burning. No, my lips are actually burning.
Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. See how much you could save at geico.com.
It's too hot. This is too hot, mate.
Welcome to the Sports Bar Challenge. In this week's game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Seattle to play the Seahawks. Crystal City Restaurant likes the Seahawks. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Chiefs. Greavy's likes the Seahawks. Hard Times Cafe of Fairfax likes the Chiefs. Harry's Ale House in Fredericksburg likes the Chiefs. And Nando's Peri Peri Chicken likes the Chiefs. Look for this to be a very high-scoring game between two very potent offenses, but I like Kansas City on the road. Pick the Chiefs.
Kansas City is 11-3. They've already clinched a playoff spot. But as they travel to Seattle, this game is important because the Chargers are also 11-3 in the division. So you look at Seattle, they're still trying to get into the playoffs after dropping the game last week to the 49ers. Now this game is going to come down to whatever defense can stop the other's offense. So you look at Kansas City, they've scored 499 points. But their defense has to be able to match what the offense does, stop the other person's offense. So Seattle, you would think I would pick them because they're at home this week. I'm picking Kansas City.
Well, Pittsburgh traveling to New Orleans. New Orleans is just playing beast this season. Pittsburgh, they need to win this game. And they got Big Ben. People, you never count Big Ben out. He's not Brady, but you don't count Big Ben out either. Take Pittsburgh to win this game because Donna Hopkins, she's picking New Orleans to win. So take Pittsburgh.
That's right, Minister of Information. I'm still there. Talking about big games this week, let's look at Baltimore going to Los Angeles Chargers. It sounds a little bit funny, but that Los Angeles Chargers team is no joke. Good defense, very good offense, good special teams, a lot of good players. Baltimore, great defense, pretty good offense, and a lot of good players. Look at the home field advantage. Look at that new team out there in Los Angeles. Not San Diego. Pick the Chargers.
On this week's segment of What's Bugging the NFL Fan, we have Jennifer Kidder to let you know what's bugging her.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Kidder. I am a parenting consultant at Inner Armour, and what has been bugging me about the NFL this season has been all of the injuries, especially to the Redskins players, and that's what's bugging me this NFL season.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the picks real quickly. All praise Donna, all bow. She's now in first place by one. No bowing? No bowing and scraping? Okay, so she's not the queen. All right, Tampa Bay at Dallas. Tony's Dallas, Donna's Dallas, Gary's Tampa, excuse me.
Yes.
And I'll go with Dallas.
True
Kansas City
fan.
and Seattle. It's Tony and Donna, Kansas City, and we like Seattle. No question about that. Houston at Philadelphia. Tony's Philly, and I'm Philly, and you malcontents are both going with Houston. Pittsburgh at New Orleans. Who can go against New Orleans at home? But Tony did. Donna's New Orleans. Gary, you're Pittsburgh? Oh, my gosh. And New Orleans. And Baltimore at Chargers. That's a great game. And I have to tell you, Gary, I should have gone with Baltimore since I'm sort of a home guy. But I want to win this thing because the trophy's big and it's thousands of dollars. And it's the Chargers for me. Anyway, we only have about a minute left. But real quickly, Gary, what do we need to do to beat this team? And I say we. What do you all need to do?
Create chaos, create havoc. Play the football you know the way that you know you can play Redskin football.
Yeah. What do you think, Donna?
It's called 1, 2, 3. All three phases of this team. Like the team said against Jacksonville, it took all three parts of this team to win. It'll be the same thing when they play Tennessee.
You know, there's something magic that went on in that game this past weekend, and seeing Josh Johnson.
We won.
Yeah. Seeing Josh Johnson come in, a kid who's tried 10 years in the league to get his first start and win a game.
Never
you
gave
saw
up.
him at the end of the game down on the field doing sort of a belly flop. He was so excited. I think he brought enthusiasm to this team, and I think everybody who saw him come into the locker room and saw him and how excited he was about being on an NFL team and playing in a game, that lifted the spirits of the entire team. Look for that to happen again this week.
How you doing? I'm Dante. And Sharita. We come all the way from North Virginia out here to Jacksonville, Florida to see our Redskins. That's right. We the fan of the week.
All right. So what do you all think about today? Are they going to win? They still got a chance for the playoffs?
We need this win. Oh, yeah. We need this win. Oh, yeah. We got to get it, especially against these Jaguars. Oh, yeah. We're going down. We way down here in Jacksonville country, still repping our skins, way down here in Florida.
It is through our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light again. I would love for you to pick up my book, Getting to the Other Side of Victory. If not for yourself, a loved one, or a friend, pick it up for someone that's going through a tough time. You can purchase it on both Amazon and Barnes & Noble in both paperback or ebook. For my autographed copy, go to my website at www.donnajhopkins.com and help someone get to the other side of victory.
Tony, good news. The Redskin Magazine Inc. Minority Scholarship Contest is back again this year, and we're encouraging all seniors to submit essays on the subject. Do you think the Voting Rights Act of 1965 impacts your rights today? Why or why not? And you can submit your essays to redmagplus.com. Once on the website, you go to Youth Sideline. That gives you all the instructions on the essay, how to submit it, and all we can say is they're great prizes, so best of luck to all the writers out there.
Now for my tip of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Redskins still have an opportunity. It is the holiday season. This is the season for giving. And maybe somebody will give them a prize. Let them make the playoffs. But until that time, enjoy your holiday season. Merry Christmas. And next week, we'll say Happy New Year. But right now, for the moment, we'll say in a minute.